Iraq and Saudi troops massed along a disputed border. Urgent consultations at the White House, and world markets take an oil crisis hammering as the Middle East waits for the next shoe to drop. This is the CBS Evening News. Dan Rattle reporting tonight from Amman, Jordan. Good evening. There were many indications during the day that the crisis in the Persian Gulf may be inching toward another explosion point. U.S. Defense Secretary Dick Cheney reached Saudi Arabia to help bolster Saudi spirits and resolve. Witnesses say the Saudis are sending more troops to the Kuwaiti border, where they'll be eyeball to eyeball with Iraqi invaders. Iraq's dictator Saddam Hussein meets for 2 hours with American diplomats who characterize their session with him as serious. Saddam Hussein also reportedly told Baghdad to prepare for a possible U.S. air attack. The United States says it's concerned over the whereabouts of 28 Americans taken from their hotels in Kuwait to an unknown destination. In a diplomatic pincer movement, President Bush is sending Secretary of State James Baker to Turkey, site of key Iraqi oil pipelines. Iraq is said to have closed one of its pipelines because Western embargoes strangled demand. Oil prices continued to bubble up in the West today, while fears of new inflation and possibly higher interest rates sent Wall Street reeling. In Washington, President Bush held a series of meetings to map strategy for the Persian Gulf crisis. White House correspondent Wyatt Andrews reports on that.
President Bush won an important victory today in his drive to isolate Iraq and throttle its economy, as the UN Security Council unanimously approved a global trade embargo against Baghdad. No selling, no buying, no loans to Iraq, and no business dealings with the government Iraq installed in Kuwait, among the toughest and most unambiguous documents ever to come out of the UN.
The resolution is certainly going to make a strong statement of international opinion and a strong set of actions on the part of the countries of the world.
At the White House, where Mr. Bush met with British leader Thatcher and NATO's chief Werner, it was clear the UN vote gave him exactly what he wanted, a worldwide expression of outrage.
It shows, I think, that the world is united against the kind of aggression that we've witnessed.
Because UN resolutions are not known for being effectively enforced, the president is also attempting to organize a blockade of Iraq. Mr. Bush strongly hinted he may use military force to back up the trade embargo.
We need to discuss full and total implementation of these sanctions, ruling out nothing at all. These sanctions must be enforced.
Britain's Thatcher was even more direct.
I hope that the sanctions will be observed. If not, we shall, by virtue of the fact that any action to the contrary will be illegal. If not, we shall have jointly to consider collective action of the kind of thing such as a blockade.
White House sources say Mr. Bush's real goal is to cork up Iraq's 3 major oil pipelines by denying Iraq both buyers and shippers for oil. Turkey is one key to that strategy, since an Iraqi pipeline runs through the country. Secretary of State Baker will go to Turkey on Thursday to press Prime Minister Özal to cooperate with U.S. plans. The president badly needs the trade embargo to succeed because of his tough warnings that he will not allow the Iraqi invasion to stand. Despite today's promise that every nation in the world will help isolate Iraq, the president is so far alone in his threat to use force. Wyatt Andrews, CBS News, the White House.
At the Pentagon, CBS News Defense Department correspondent David Martin has been tracking this country's military options in the Persian Gulf. Here's what he's found out.
After an all-night flight to Saudi Arabia, Defense